What's up, team? So it's 2026. We're already started. We've already got the ball rolling. Or wait a minute, if we don't have the ball rolling, that's exactly why you should join Go Be Great Today Facebook group. This is why you should subscribe. This is why you should follow. Because if you're 7 days into this year and we have not started on whatever goal that we said we were going to, whatever goal we thought about, even whatever goal that we're thinking about doing this year, that we said, you know what, I'm not going to make this a goal because I'm more so afraid of not accomplishing that goal, which a lot of people do. Trust me, I've got a background in personal training, exercise science. I used to do this for many years ago to date myself. But people would say, hey, I don't even want to make this my goal because of fear of failure. A lot of people there's two things: fear of failure, fear of public speaking, which is ironic. I actually don't have a fear of public speaking. My fear, actually, believe it or not, a little something about me. My fear is speaking in front of this silly, goofy camera. Believe it or not, I can speak in front of people all day long, give presentations, I do speeches. I've spoken in front of some very prestigious people, in front of government officials and all this and that. Speaking in front of this camera, that's my Achilles heel. So that's actually why I do it. So that's what we're doing for 2026. We're doing what makes us uncomfortable. I'm doing this as practice. So there's a lot of people that know me personally. They say, Devin, you're more so of a quiet person. We don't really foresee you being in the type of roles that you are in as far as sales, business development. I've led sales teams, district and regional management, been in corporate business development and sales for many years, and I've helped a lot of businesses grow, start, all that. You're a business person, but we don't see you speaking a lot in public. Well, a lot of it, and a lot of the reason that I'm able to do this behind closed doors is because of things like this. I make myself uncomfortable in certain situations like this, like speaking in front of an actual camera, looking at that green dot and having to do that so that whenever I'm behind closed doors, I'm prepared and I've been able to speak and inflect and do all this and whatever that is necessary to have the conversations behind closed doors with people. I'm more in tune, that type of thing. And so I'm just making myself put myself in uncomfortable positions and having to do it in front of people to hold myself accountable. That's what this is for. So 2026, not necessarily making ourselves uncomfortable or putting ourselves, you guys don't have to do that, but we're doing what we know that we need to in order to get the results that we're looking for. Whenever I'm sitting with business clients or whenever I'm sitting with people, I understand that we're having to set some sort of goal. Same thing I used to have to do with personal training. When people would sit in front of me, they had to sit down and try to figure out how are we going to, or what is the goal first off, and how are we going to achieve this specific goal. Same thing that I have to do, which draws parallels as far as the business world, figuring out what is the goal, what is the objective, what is it that we have to hit, and what is the plan of action, what is the strategy that we're going to utilize to make sure that we hit this. Now, in the business world, there's not an option. You either hit the goals, hit the objective, hit the mark, hit whatever the projected targets are, or certain things happen. People, unfortunately, are without jobs. People get demotions, all type of other stuff. So it's not an option as in personal and physical health, mental health. Well, I won't say mental health, but physical health, to where you could just say, oh, well, I'll just be lazy and live with what comes of it. In business world, we don't have that option. So we have to hit objectives, and there's no option as far as that goes. It's either hit the goal or not. It's either have money or not. It's like your bank account. It's cut or dry. It's black and white. It's either you have the money or you reap the consequences of negative balances and overdrawn and this and that. The bills, it's like paying your bills. Either you pay the light bill or lights get shut off. There's no option. There's no basically gray area, or there's no, oh, well, maybe I'll live with this. No, it's either or. And so that's what we have to make it for ourselves. We have to make it a non-negotiable. We have to make it something to where it's either black or it's white. We're either going to do it full steam ahead or we're not going to do it. It's either or. And the problem is, or what I say would be the most frustrating thing, is when you have this thing that festers or that is always on your mind and that takes years and months and whatever it is off your life to where you have to keep continually looking at this calendar event and it come up and you look at it again and it's frustrating. And you look at it again and it's frustrating. We have to make it a point to where we say, you know what? This is going to be the year. People typically don't move towards things that make us feel better. People typically don't move towards things that are a reward. They actually run from fear. So we have to make it to where it's like, I have no other option. I just have to do it. I literally just have to do it. Typically, if you've ever been in any scenario where in your life you say, you know what, this is it. I've got to make it work. Then you've seen the type of momentum, the type of energy, the type of effort, the type of resolve that you have to make it work. So we have to do that. This is what we're going to do in 2026. We're creating this urgency. We're creating this, you know what? There's no other option. There's no other opinion. We're throwing this out, all excuses, whatever happened in the past, whatever excuses were, we are throwing them out. If this is the 7th day of the month of January and you have not started, we are in that fight or flight, let's make it happen, we have no other option mode. I'm telling you, join the Facebook group. If you're at this point, you need the accountability. If you're at this point, you need to subscribe, because now we need some sort of extrinsic motivation to get there. I'm going to help people and keep people accountable. And not just me, it's the group, it's the environment. Maybe you need to change, not necessarily change your environment as far as cutting people off, but maybe you just need to add more positive resources around. So that's what this group is about. I'm telling you. One of the best things you can do is get yourself around like-minded people. That's what Go Be Great Today, the podcast, the group, the community, all that is about. We're making change, and we're making it urgent, and we're making it a have to in 2026. So when I'm sitting with a business client, this is what we do. With that, with anything, it's like building a house, or it's like building anything, sitting in front of whatever, like I just said, with a business client. We have the goal, we have the objective. It has to be clear and it has to be concise. Whenever an architect is creating a building or a drawing or creating a structure, he has to know exactly what it looks like. It's like putting a puzzle piece together. If you've ever put a puzzle piece together and you think you've got all these little pieces that, oh, I think this may work, and then next thing you look, oh, you didn't actually look at the whole board, and now you've put this whole piece together and it's, oh shoot, this wasn't right. You have to know where you're going. You have to be the architect of your life to say, this is what it's supposed to look like whenever we get done. What I do with clients, even with personal training, we have to, which is the strategy that I learned and the strategy that I've developed, the strategy I've implemented in multiple different industries, is we work our way backwards. If you've ever looked at a celebrity, if you've ever looked at an actress, if you've ever looked at a very famous person and you say, oh, well, of course I could do that if I had this much time, or of course I could do that if I worked out 6 days a week, or of course I could do that if I spent more time blazing, blah, blah. You're literally telling yourself what it is that you need to do. So we're creating a goal, we're working our way backwards. If you've been in business, if you've been in a lot of different industries, you have to work your way backwards. Set the goal. Now, how do we achieve this goal? We set daily objectives. What would it take for me to do daily? X, Y, Z, however many days a week, however many times a day, however much time each day, we're going to devote. Just take some amount of time and we're going to devote this daily, or however many times a week, whatever, and we're going to set ourselves accountable. We're going to say, when I first started exercising, trying to gain weight, working out really heavily, tried any and everything that I could, ate any and everything I could. Asked my parents, I ate us almost out of house and home, lifting weights. I was frustrated. I could not get the weight on. I could not put on the muscle. I was a skinny, scrawny kid, couldn't gain any weight. And for a long period of time, many times of what one would call failing, I looked up and the only thing that I could see was that since I had a very high metabolism, since this was a struggle for me, I would work out for 5-6 months, 3-4 months, whatever it would be, very consistently. As soon as I slacked off a little bit, boom, there went all my, even if I started it right back, I would just shred the weight. I'd shred whatever the results were, essentially, and then I'd get right back on it. So then I'd restart this mode, I'd restart back in this cycle. Consistency obviously was what I needed in order to progress past and to keep the ball rolling, keep pushing that ball up the hill in order to push it over the hill. So it was consistency. What I noticed was whenever I would get to this point, I would get lazy, frustrated, whatever it is that a lot of people do whenever you're trying to achieve goals. You give all your effort, you go really hard in the very beginning, and then you get to the point where you're like, I'm not seeing the results. You lose just a little bit of enthusiasm, and that's when people fall off. So that's the point where I would say, you know what? I would wake up, typically I was looking at the actions that would happen around that time. I'd wake up a little bit later, a little bit more lethargic, not quite as enthusiastic as I was in the very beginning. And then those would be a couple days I would just nod off, go back to sleep, and I'd fall off. That's where the results were. So what I realized when I finally got past that plateau, or when I finally figured out exactly what it was, when I studied myself and studied exactly what I was doing, took accountability, I said during that time, I would notice that, I would notice that I wouldn't get out of bed. So I said, you know what, when I feel like that, when I'm at that point where I'm like, okay, I'm not feeling like getting up, I'd be like, boom, get up. And I just stand straight up. I create energy, create some sort of momentum. I'd get up out of bed. Now I'm out of bed. Now I was bundled up and cold and I didn't get out of bed. Now I'm standing up in the middle of the room and it's like, well, I'm already up, might as well, whatever. I figured out whatever pain point, whatever point it was that I needed to push through. And so I started doing this. Got past the 3-4 months, and then everything is kind of history. Ended up being a personal trainer, about this and that. And I wanted to push and motivate people to get past that point, to get into personal reflection, figure out what it is that we need to get us past that point. What I do with all people with personal training, with businesses, is we do consultations, figure out what is it individually with each person, each business, each situation. And that's been my strength just in general, which is me being quiet. That's like I won't say it necessarily a gift, but my ability to just sit back, analyze come up with, figure out a strategy for what works for each person, because I've listened, I've looked at each person, I've evaluated, and then we put forth that strategy, we implement it, and then we structure it with discipline daily. So we get back to that working a goal backwards, figuring out what the goal is, making it plain, making it complete, making it whole, smelling it, feeling it, being in it, that type of thing, really. And then what we do is we shelf it. We say, that's not the most important part now. We know what it is, but we don't look at it. Now what we do is we take each and every day, we divide each and every day up to what we need. How many days a week do I think that I need to work out? If I could comfortably make it to where it's comfortable, not uncomfortable, it doesn't have to be every day, comfortably put together 4 days out of the week. I can start with that comfortably. However much time, start with that. Make it a priority. Say, even if it's just 30 minutes, even if it's really short, throughout that. If it's studying, if it's research, if it's working on the business, if it's doing this, no matter what it is, a little bit of time, those 4 days a week. Set it in your goals, set it in your strategy, set it in your calendar, put up notes and all that stuff. We all know these type of things. Put notes on your keyboard, on your bed, on your whatever. Put it on your pillows where you go to bed and you say, I can't lay down because I got this piece of thing. Oh, there's a reminder. Let me get up. Let me spend 30 minutes, be up another 30 minutes, no matter what. But you feel better at the end of the day. Go to sleep knowing you've checked this box. So we're checking these boxes. We notice this. We've got our accountability piece. We've got our strategy. We've got our discipline. We've got our accountability piece, because the group is going to keep you enthusiastic about it. It's going to keep you, if you watch people I was actually just watching somebody that was climbing Mount Everest, master, guru, whatever it is, Sean, what is it, monk, I think it's what they call them, that was actually climbing. I didn't know they were monks or whatever, but climbed Mount Everest most of the time would go with the partner. Even as advanced as he was, you get to a certain point, he'd have to pull somebody up. They'd get tired, the person had to pull him up. Then he'd have to pull, the person had to pull him up. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is a lot of times we want to beat our chest. We want to be, oh, I'm big, bad, I'm this and that, to act like we don't need a little bit of help. And you don't need necessarily help. We just a little push, a little nudge every now and then to push us through those pain points. We do this enough, we gain enough momentum, we build enough muscle, we build enough stamina, we build enough strength. We start to see things happen. We start to see the business growing. We start to see the business developing, start to see the finances, the bank account moving, the relationship being built. We start to see all these things. And then that's when it gets fun. That's when it's like, you know what? Now let's take this to the next level. Now let's grow just a little bit more. And now we're starting to run full speed ahead. Now we're saying, you know what? I'm past that point. I cannot stop now. So that's what we do. Set the goal, make it plain, make it clear, work our way backwards. Work our way to where strategically, if I was to do this or that, if I was to look at this celebrity, this person that's very famous, that's done whatever it says, whenever you look at them and you see them, you say, oh, of course, if I was to do that, that's your mark. That's what you already know what it takes. You know what it takes to do it. Now we just have to do it. Now you may not have as much time, but use a little bit of that time into whatever makes it comfortable. Work your way backwards. But the most important thing to do is to start. And if we're on day 7, you haven't started yet, you need to start now. Not now, but right now. Join the group, Facebook group. Let me know that you started. Let me know why you started. Let me know that you joined this group. Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. Follow the group, follow along. We're gonna make it creative, we're gonna make it fun throughout 2026. We're all going to achieve our goals. And the big thing, like I said, remember, I said, put that goal up. We're just putting it on a shelf somewhere. We know where it's at, we know what it looks like, we know what it is, but we're not even looking at that goal. We're looking at each and every day. Look at the end of the week, we look back at each and every day, what we completed. If we didn't hit it that week, that's no problem. Let's start the next week. Let's make it a goal. Now we're gonna go 2 weeks. If we fall back a little bit, no problem. Let's get right back up. Let's get that momentum. If the majority of this year looks better than just giving up, we're gonna be a lot much closer to that goal as opposed to not at it at all or having given up. We're not giving up. There's not an opportunity of giving up. We're making it a lifestyle. We're making life changes. We're making business changes. We're starting from today. So that's the key. That's the goal. That's the objective. Now you have the plan. We're working it backwards. We're not stop focusing on the goal. Let's focus on the day. Let's focus on what you control. Not focusing on the goal. Let's focus on what you can control in 2026. Hey, go be great today because you already are. Talk to you guys later. Peace.